Continuing coverage of Ball State men's basketball here on BallStateSports.com and Ball State All Access. Joel Gadet, glad to have you with us again here today. And we continue our series meeting the new basketball assistants today with the associate head coach and Brett Nelson. First off, a belated welcome to Muncie.
Thank you, man. I'm excited to be here.
Talk to me about your first couple of weeks and months now. What's it been like? What's the whirlwind been like for you guys?
It's been great, man. Obviously, the excitement around our program has been tremendous here in the community of Muncie. Getting here was right in the middle of the April recruiting period, so we were hitting it hard. And then we had camps in June and a lot of unofficial visits, which were good. And finally got my family here this weekend, so everything's coming together.
What are the goals when you get here as a new staff, and more particularly for yourself, to get oriented with a program, to meet players? You've obviously done some recruiting, and you guys have some of your own recruits even at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you take over a job, this is the third time I've been with a first-year head coach taking a job, and I think the number one thing you got to do is you got to get to know your current players. No one's more important than those guys, and I think we've done a good job of really getting to know those guys on a personal level. Obviously, getting to know the guys you're working with, getting a lay of the land from a recruiting standpoint, because at the end of the day, nothing's more important than recruiting.
Let's talk about what you just brought up there, being with a first-time head coach. What's unique about that experience in terms of your job and in terms of what it's like working with a guy in that spot?
You know, obviously, for me, this business is all about the people. And Coach Whitford is a high-character guy, someone that I really, really wanted to work for. I was with Anthony Grant his first year at VCU, and then Donnie Jones his first year at Marshall. And, you know, being with those two guys, I got to see a lot of things. So I think from a perspective standpoint, I'll be able to give James, you know, some things that I learned that worked, some things that didn't work in those guys' first year as head coaches.
What's your background with James Whitford as well? I know when he got this job, you guys met very early in the process because I was kind of sitting there when you guys met each other. How did you guys get connected and decide that this was going to be a good fit?
You know, we were at the Final Four. Obviously, I was there, and I know Archie Miller really well. He knew Mark Phelps, who I was working with at Drake University, and when he got the job, I think he got it like at 11 o'clock on a Saturday night. I got a phone call at 12:30. I was in my hotel room there in Atlanta and wanted to meet with me. Next thing I know, 11 a.m. Sunday morning, him and I are sitting down and, you know, talking about Ball State, and we really, really hit it off. And, you know, I could just tell the excitement coming from him. This place was a special place. And then before I took the job, I came here on campus, and I saw what he was talking about. This is a special place.
Talk about your background a little bit as far as coaching goes, but as far as playing goes as well, because I think you're probably most known for your playing days at Florida. But that bleeds into your coaching as well. Yeah. You've coached for everybody on that staff except for Billy Donovan now as well. So it's kind of bred some nice kind of lines for you in the coaching industry.
It has. You know, I was very fortunate enough, you know, to play for a great high school coach growing up in West Virginia, where basketball is king. And, you know, I developed my love for the game at an early age. Got to know Billy Donovan when I was in the 8th grade when he was the head coach at Marshall University. And that relationship developed into me, ended up going to the University of Florida. Like I kept saying, it's all about the people. I've been blessed to be around Billy Donovan, John Pelfrey, Anthony Grant, Donnie Jones, some really good guys. You know, that I've worked for all three of those guys who were assistant coaches at Florida at some point in my career, which has helped prepare me for this sitting here at Ball State with you right now.
We'll dive into this more at a later point, but while we've got you for an introductory note, what's it like playing for a national championship?
It was cool, man. You know, I was 18 years old, and, you know, you're sitting there in front of 60,000 people. I think it was the RCA Dome at the time there in Indianapolis. And, you know, I really didn't take it in, you know, until about 4 or 5 years after we played in the Final Four. I thought I was going to go back to 3 other ones, you know, but it doesn't happen. It's really hard to win, you know, 5 games in a row or 6 games in a row to get to a Final Four. So it was an unbelievable experience. You got Magic Johnson, Muhammad Ali coming in your locker room after the game. You know, we beat Carolina in the semifinals. So it was an unbelievable experience.
You run into Mateen Cleaves on the street today. What do you say?
It was unbelievable. The guy was like a 20% three-point shooter all year, and he hit 4 in that game. He broke our back.
Brett, really appreciate the time. Best of luck. We'll dive into all that throughout what's hopefully a fruitful tenure for you here, and welcome again to Muncie.
Thanks, y'all. Appreciate it.
Brett Nelson joining us here as we continue to introduce you to all the men's basketball and women's basketball new assistants here on BallStateSports.com.